Hello, everybody, and welcome to our Christmas series. We did do a bit of a Christmas video for the Cerebral Book Chat, I think. Of course, Bear doesn't do that. I do that myself. But I happened across an amazing movie last night that was all the rage in the 80s. As you know, I was born in the 60s, Gen X. Yeah. So I was just graduating high school in 85. And so that was kind of interesting. Anyway, but there was a Christmas movie that came out in 1985 with very, very famous people 40 years ago, because we're almost at 2025. So it was like 40 years ago. Dudley Moore, who I don't believe is alive anymore, was crazy famous. He was one of the most famous actors of the 80s and the 70s, and he was in a Christmas movie. And they didn't make a lot of Christmas movies. They made some, but they didn't make a lot. And so this was a really big deal. And then there was a few other people, smaller people in the sense of people didn't know them as well. But John Lithgow was in it, who is crazy famous because he's still working. He was in the recent movie Conclave, which is amazing. If anybody wants to check that out as well. So, well, I liked it. But that's not what this video is about. So anyway, we're going to talk about the book from the movie. Boom. Santa Claus, the movie. They were simpler times back then. They just made it fairly simple. It's literally called Santa Claus the Movie, and it was a triumph. It was so unbelievably popular that it was on forever. It was on TV for a long time. They would rerun it. It's still on, what is it, Tubi, I think. I think it's Tubi, Tubi, that free streaming service. I think you can watch, I think that's where I watched it. And I believe we had the cassette tape of it, because, they had VCRs, right, back in the 80s and 90s. Which were huge, which were amazing back then. I mean, oh my God, not like the streaming services we have now and then the DVDs we still have. It was a VCR, but we didn't care. I mean, we thought it was amazing technology, man. So that was something that we had for a really long time, and so did everybody else. And I got this from a used bookstore. I don't have access to a lot of them now, which makes me sad. But also, I'm kind of glad I'm not driving right now with the way it is, with what's going on out there. So, but I found this one. So I thought that we would actually have a look at it and see what we thought. Santa Claus, the legend of Santa Claus. So you might see some people, if you want to watch it, crazy good movie. Really very, very well done. And I think it's good for everybody. The 80s were a little more rough and ready. So, but there isn't anything really like scary or whatever, I don't think, that badly. But it's just sort of a story about how Santa Claus comes to be, and then all the elves and everything. I suppose the biggest thing is there are no women elves. So that might upset some people. There are no women elves, but, it was 1985. And, Mrs. Claus has a really good part. Like, she's not on the sidelines. Like, she is in the story. So I still think it's valuable. So anyway, let's look at this. There you go. That's the back. So let's have a read. 4 storybooks, perfect for reading aloud, based on the dazzling holiday movie. The Legend of Santa Claus, The Elves at the Top of the World, Patch and the Evil Toy Maker, and The Boy Who Didn't Believe in Christmas. Because there's a subplot of this little boy who's kind of homeless, so it's kind of a story about that. So let's look at it. It's again from 1985. I thought we'd watch all of them. Let's, watch all of them. You got to see this movie. And yeah, there it is, 1985. The Legend of Santa Claus. Okay, so let's have a read. Long ago, in a distant land, there lived a woodcutter named Claus. Every year it was his greatest joy to carve wooden toys for the children of the village. He kept the toys hidden in a large sack until that special night, Christmas Eve. On that night, Claus and his wife Anya would put the sack of toys into their sleigh. The two reindeer, Donner and Blitzen, oh, do they sound familiar, would wait patiently while Claus adjusted their harness. When all was ready, Claus and Anya would travel in the sleigh from house to house delivering the toys. So there you guys go. It's it's kind of a different kind of Christmas movie, but I really like it. On certain Christmas Eve, the children in one of the houses were becoming restless, waiting for Claus. To make the time pass quickly, Granny told the story about the Vendigum, the little men who live in the ice mountains at the top of the world. And then the ice mountains cracked open. Oh, there we are, said Granny, and the beautiful lights shone in the sky, and out came the elves, hundreds of them in their brightly colored clothes. Because, of course, this is a bit of a, of a story of where maybe the elves came from. Here comes Uncle Claus, someone shouted, and the story was temporarily forgotten. The big wooden door swung open, and Claus and Anya came into the room. The snow was falling outside, and they were glad to be inside the warm house with their friends. Because I think this is maybe Scandinavia or Norway or, Sweden or something like that. I'm not really sure, but it's some cold place. The children crowded around Claus, eager to see what was in the sack he carried. Claus took out the toys one by one and gave each child a present. I made this one for you, Elsa, said Claus as he handed a wooden doll to the little Elsa. The doll looked like a very small man. It's an elf, Elsa, explained Granny. Elsa took the toy elf. She remembered the story about the elves who lived at the top of the world. By the time Klaus and Anya were on their way to the next house, the snowfall had turned into a blizzard. As the sleigh moved slowly through the forest, whirling snowflakes became thicker and thicker. Claus was having trouble seeing. Because, of course, as you can see, it's pretty difficult for them to see where they're going at this point. Suddenly, the sleigh stopped moving. The reindeer dropped to their knees in the snowdrifts. Oh, my goodness, what's going to happen? It seemed to Claus that something strange was happening. The reindeer did not move. Even Anya's eyes had closed. As Claus tried to wake her, he too fell into a deep sleep. Or froze to death. Remember, we were 80s kids, and people did not really care about what they did to us. But you can think about it any way you want. Yeah. The wind stopped blowing. The snow stopped falling. Donner opened his eyes. In the clear air, the night sky glittered with stars. The most beautiful star of all shone above them. Donner nudged Blitzen, and he stood up too and looked around. At the sound of their snorting, Claus woke up. Anya, he cried, and he opened his eyes. Look, they were just sleeping. Everybody. And they woke up. So let's go. Look, they were still sitting in their sleigh, but in a very different place. They were surrounded by mountains of ice and snow. They found themselves in a magical place at the top of the world. Klaus and Anya stared in amazement. They saw coming toward them little men, hundreds of them, wearing brightly colored clothes and carrying torches. A friendly welcome, said by all the men at once, filled the air. It's the Vendigum, Claus whispered. The elves who live in the ice mountains. Look at them all, you guys. Look at the elves that live in the ice mountains. What do you think? Pretty cool, right? All right, let's see if we can do this. Claus and Anya realized they had nothing to fear. The elves seemed kind-hearted and quite clever. A friendly elf stepped forward. I'm Dooley, he told them. We've been expecting you. As Dooley spoke, a snow-covered house with many doors and windows appeared behind the elves. What do you think that is, you guys? Anybody? It's Santa's castle! We live there, explained Dooley. We're the elves who make toys. I'm a toy maker myself, said Claus. We know. Do you think it's possible that they know that they're toy makers? I mean, I think it's possible that they know that they're toy makers. Yeah. Okay, instead of wearing my orange hat, I'm wearing my Jesus Santa hat because I got it from Jesus last year at Christmas. It's a Ralph Lauren polo. Yeah. The elves took Claus and Anya inside the elf workshop and showed them the wonderful room where they worked. What do you do with so many toys? Claus asked. Well, we make toys for the children who live all over the world, said Dooley. We have been waiting for someone who can deliver them. Claus looked confused when he realized that the elves wanted him to deliver their toys. But how could I do such a thing? He said. There is not enough time. Yes, there is, said Dooley. You and Anya and Anna are going to live forever. So you guys, Santa lives forever. So don't you worry if he's going to get there and give you your toys. He lives forever. Absolutely. That night, Claus visited the stable. An elf named Patch. That is Dudley Moore. Yeah. He popularized the name Dudley. An elf named Patch introduced Claus to 6 new reindeer. Donner and Blitzen had already been given a stall of their own, and they were happy in their new home. On Christmas Eve, said Patch, you'll have 8 reindeer to pull your sleigh across the sky. Flying reindeer? Cried Claus. How is that possible? Elf magic. Well, we all know about elf magic, right? We all know about that, said an elf named Boog, who was feeding the reindeer. He showed Claus the special reindeer food. It was a mixture of moss and stardust. The stardust was a magical ingredient known only to the elves at the North Pole. It gave the reindeer the power to fly. And we all know that reindeers can fly, don't we? We all know that reindeer fly. As the weeks and months went by, the toy workshop grew busier and busier. The elves carved their toys out of wood and painted them bright colors. There were toy people, toy animals, toy buildings. Claus was there inspecting all the elf-made toys. He even showed the elves some wood-carving tricks of his own. Because back then, this is a really long time ago, and there wasn't any plastic toys or anything like that. Oh, everybody, find your inner elf. Yeah. It's a cup of mine. I'm having a cuppa. Okay, the elves made Claus a beautiful suit of clothes. When Anya saw it, she shook her head slowly. It's nice, she said, but I don't think green is his color. What do you guys think? Is green Santa's color? No, it isn't. How about brown? No. Thank God, right? No. Asked one of the elves. Red? Said Patch. Anna smiled. Yes, red. Red is a perfect color for Claus. It will bring out the color of his cheeks. There you go. These are the people. Can you see them? Oh, there it is. There it is. Hopefully you can see them better. Yeah, I'm trying to make sure you can see them. One night, the North Star shone directly over the elf workshop. Dooley watched it through his telescope. It was a sign to the elves that Christmas Eve was coming soon. The elves worked night and day to get everything ready in time for Claus's first ride. When the time comes, thought Claus, will I be able to do this important job? Because, Santa worried too sometimes. It's okay that we worry because Santa worried, The months turned into days, the days turned into hours, and then it was at last Christmas Eve. Now the long room where the toys were stored became the place where everyone gathered. It was here that the reindeer were harnessed to the sleigh. It was here that the elves filled Claus's sack with elf-made toys. Claus arrived wearing the new red suit. It's time, sir, Dooley told him. We mustn't keep the ancient elf waiting. And that's an interesting side piece, right? Oh, there it is, sorry. Can you see it now? Maybe you can see it now. There's an ancient elf that has elf magic. And so he is going to give magic to Santa Claus so that he can fly and be immortal. So this is very cool. Again, pretty famous person. I think his name was Burgess Meredith. Very big in like 50s and 60s movies. And was quite old for this one, but did it. An old elf with a beard so long that it reached the floor came before them. This was the ancient elf. For many years, we elves have waited for the one who would carry our toys to the children, said the ancient elf. But he would be a toy maker himself, and he had to be someone who loved children. Claus, you are the chosen one. From now on, you will be known as Santa Claus. Santa Claus stepped into the sleigh and took a hold of the reins. Anya smiled proudly because that's Mrs. Claus, although sometimes her name is Jessica in certain renditions of the movie or book, whatever they may be, right? When Santa gave the signal, the reindeer galloped down the long room and out into the cold, starry night. The elves gave a cheer. There he is. That's the ancient elf, right? That's Santa. There it is. And here we go. Just as Santa felt the sleigh go up into the air, he saw that the night belonged to him. He knew he would be able to deliver all the toys. He knew he would make millions of children happy. It was a wonderful sensation, going up. Ho, 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 he chuckled, the wind tickling his beard. So that's a bit of a different ending, because the movie is really long. It wasn't really a children's movie. So technically, this is not a children's book, but hopefully it was okay. Children can look at it. It's actually kind of, I think it's maybe PG, I'm not sure. It's very tame by today's standards, obviously. But yeah, it's a pretty big movie. There's quite a bit in it. And so they had to cut out a lot to make it into a sort of storybook. But that is the book, everybody. Woohoo! You know, that's the book. Oh, and you know what? Bear didn't come and join us. Bear! He was laying down. He's really enjoying the Sunday because it's Sunday afternoon now. Bear, are you going to come and just wish everybody Merry Christmas because it's our Christmas show? Are you sure? Hang on, I'm going to go get him. Hey, sorry, everybody. Sorry, I was, just, relaxing, So, but yes, welcome to the Christmas series. Baby, we're finished. Really? Yeah. That's okay. I'll be back around for the next one. We're going to do a whole bunch. We got some new books. We got some other things we're going to do. And you know what? We're trying to make this Christmas the best Christmas yet. And so far, I think we're doing okay. I know. We just put out our Christmas lights, which is extraordinary because I haven't really been feeling so well, But I thought, I'm going to put me out some Christmas lights because Christmas lights are so beautiful and so magical and so extraordinary. Yes, and I like looking at them. So I was watching Cheryl putting them together, and she went outside and put them on the balcony because we've got this really big balcony. We actually do. It's one of the nicest balconies because we live on the corner suite. Yeah, renting the corner suite can definitely be a benefit. Because we can see a little bit farther than other people can because we got this wraparound balcony, which is cool. So anyway, everybody, I hope you're enjoying it. It is December 8th right now, and me and Bear just want to say Happy Christmas. Happy Christmas to you, and to all a good night. Right, and plenty more. Bye, everybody.